Hello YouTube, I hope you're all very well and welcome back to my channel. I meant to do this review a while ago, but better late than never. Today I shall be discussing the much fated cult classic that is They Live. I think this is easily one of John Carpenter's best cinematic offerings. The picture was released in 1988 and sits within the science fiction genre, although it has both a political and humorous undercurrent flowing through it. They Live was actually released to coincide with the presidential election in the November of 1988. It was to promulgate a critical narrative, a means of expressing the social concerns of the zeitgeist. John Carpenter used the pseudonym Frank Armitage when he scripted his screenplay, so he directed and wrote the story, intensifying his commentary on Reaganomics. They Live is a film which one can watch multiple times and notice something different. Attention to detail is vast here. John Carpenter had initially written the script for Kurt Russell, but as he had collaborated with him several times, the director cast the late Roddy Piper instead. Piper was a professional wrestler who had a rugged countenance, so he made the grade. Carpenter has expressed that a polished actor would not have fitted the character's mould. There was an amount of disdain concerning a casting of a wrestler. However, that is, and was, a short-sighted, as Piper's performance is superb. They Live received pianistic responses upon its release, but it was also castigated by some critics for the picture's political agenda. They Live's score was composed by John Carpenter and Alan Howarth. I noticed there was a distinct lack of the director's trademark synth, but the musical accompaniment suited this picture. The film begins with a harmonica-rich tune, reflecting the down-on-his-luck trope, where Nada, Roddy Piper's character, appears. The street art and blink and you'll miss it They Live title, which is somewhat opaque, and the miscellaneous rubbish strewn across the pavement adds to a dystopian landscape. We immediately see the story, a man whose MO is to ameliorate his current circumstances. Nada, or Nothing, the underdog, teams up with a construction worker whom he meets whilst looking for work. Frank Armitage becomes his reluctant sidekick. They have empathy for each other, yet there is friction between them. Armitage, played by Keith David, introduces Nada to a soup kitchen and a makeshift camp, filled with people in a similar situation to that of Nada's. A nearby Episcopalian church is being utilised as a front for a revolutionary movement, and this is subsequently raided by police. Nada, suspicious of the radicalism, spies a multitude of boxes in the church, and these, to his surprise, contain just sunglasses. Nada extracts these and realises, once putting them on, that they enable the wearer to see the metaphysical. The sunglasses allow for vision beyond our reality. Alien-like figures and messages are revealed. For example, simple monochromatic letters spell out consume and obey in place of adverts and shop fronts. Once Nada takes these sunglasses off, everything is as normal. Carpenter's comment is clear, that media conceals subliminal messages which facilitates the majority's lack of progression, and that these ghoulish creatures masquerading as humans are in fact omnipotent oppressors. Nada, realising that he is in possession of something so alarming, confronts one such alien who alerts her fellow beings via a gaudy wristwatch. Nada escapes the clutches of some grotesque police officers and takes a TV channel executive hostage, Holly, played by Meg Foster. He soon understands that she is not an alien, yet he demands she takes him to her avant-garde abode, which doesn't end very well as she pushes him out of her window. Nada remains intact, albeit bereft of his sunglasses. He is now fugitive and things seem pretty negative. However, Nada chances upon a box of sunglasses, the very same kind. The viewer is treated to a first-person iconic scene in which a silent Roddy Piper watches in disbelief as he is subject to a plethora of subliminal messages and spies several alien-like figures. Nada, the vigilante, desperate at this point, raids a bank, and this is where the most famous line of the film is slotted in. Ad-libbed by Roddy Piper, he spurts out on arrival, "I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum." He notices, through the carnage which ensues, that these creatures all have the same watch and are used as time portals. Frank finds Nada to give him his salary, and Nada is eager to impart his newly acquired knowledge, yet Frank isn't interested. A 5-minute fight breaks out between the pair. It is something akin to that of Tekken. The hits were real, and the scene was uncut. After Nada forces Frank to put on his sunglasses, he becomes the espouser to Nada's protagonist. They go into hiding and manage to attend an anti-alien activist meeting, which is punctuated by Nazi-like uber-militant beings. A deus ex machina, in the form of a stolen wristwatch, facilitates their escape through a portal into an alien and human sympathiser banquet. A tour of the command centre reveals the source of the alien signals affecting the mass populace. I shall not, as usual, mention the ending, but I will say that it does have humorous undertones. There are a multitude of facts surrounding They Live. The fight scene, for example, took 3 weeks to choreograph and perfect, and it was only supposed to be 20 seconds long. They enjoyed it so much that they kept it in, and the only fake hits were those to the face and to the groin. Ouch! Roddy Piper had written his bubblegum line in a notebook, and he had used it in a wrestling match. He and John Carpenter decided that it would be apt for the bank scene. Roddy Piper was homeless years ago and took his experience from this, which resulted in a realistic portrayal. Nada is never referred to as such, which I think emphasises his financial situation, but also the ordinary person doing something extraordinary as a protagonist. Frank Armitage's role was written specifically for Keith David, who acted under John Carpenter's direction in The Thing. I thought it was an amusing take on a character writing the screenplay, as Carpenter had used Frank Armitage as the nom de plume when he wrote the script. Carpenter is mentioned towards the end of the film by name. I only noticed this on my second viewing. They Live has been referred to as a Marxist film, which is not what was intended. The picture is not a comment on anti-capitalism, merely a strong remark on unregulated greed and lack of charity to those in need. It was basically an anti-yuppie film. Carpenter employed homeless people as extras in the film and sponsored them post-production. The illustrious director also is uncredited as a voice actor in the picture. They Live has caused swathes of controversy, and it has been much misconstrued. People read into it and take from it what they wish to. Although this film is very much relevant today, despite the bad 1980s hair, negative responses have forced John Carpenter to correct the misconceptions. They Live deserves the encomiums it has received and deserves a watch at least once. The second time I watched this, I noticed granular elements, minutiae which I had initially overlooked, but it all adds to the cinematic experience. It's a bit like a millefeuille with its many layers. So, if you have seen They Live, please let me know your thoughts. I will be back soon with another review. Thanks for watching, and remember, life's a bitch and she's back in heat. Bye for now.